the Bible, it says that you can only have one God. And zodiac signs is a god.
You don't know what you're talking about. That statement is simply astronomically wrong.
You're now tuned into Spiritual Gangsta Certified with Illy Bish.
All right, y'all. I was watching Kendra G's Singles Live, as I often do, and this woman comes on and you can just feel that something is wrong, that something is off. And it wasn't about her having a resting bitch face. It wasn't that she seemed shy. It was that tight, defensive, brace for impact energy that she had that really gave her away. And I felt bad and like something was about to happen. And then Kendra asked her a question that she asks everybody that has children. How many baby daddies do you have? And the woman got offended. Now, that's not necessarily uncommon, but then she goes on to tell Kendra and all of us watching that her children's father is deceased. So I knew we were in trauma territory and this was going to be a very interesting conversation because that's real. It happens to people all the time. But then things got a little bit deeper. When Kendra asked her zodiac sign, she pivoted into something I hear all the time.
Because that's when I changed my life, when I found God. That's when I gave up zodiac signs, because in the Bible, it says that you can only have one God. And zodiac signs is a god. So that's why you don't do zodiac signs if you're a believer of Christ.
She said, I gave up zodiac signs because in the Bible it says you can only have one God and a zodiac sign is a god. Now, I'm trying to be respectful here, really, but I heard that and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Actually, I thought some other things like, that's fucking stupid. But I want to be respectful. But I also want to be honest. That statement is simply astronomically wrong. This isn't about me disagreeing with it. This isn't about it being my opinion. No. I mean, if you think like that, you don't understand what astrology even is at all. Not even close. So in this video, I want to do 3 things. Number 1, I want to explain what astrology actually is and what it's not. 2, we're going to walk through the actual Christian objections with the Bible verses that people usually snatch out of their back pockets. And 3, I'm going to show you the part that nobody or hardly anybody mentions. Christian astrology has existed for centuries, including a major text literally titled Christian Astrology. So no, Christianity has not been one monolith on this. And zodiac signs are gods is not a serious understanding at all of either subject. But I guess you guessed that before I said it. So let's get into it. So, first things first, zodiac signs are not gods. Again, zodiac signs are not gods. They are not beings that you worship. They're not entities that you pray to. They're not idols. In Western tropical astrology, the most common astrology you usually see online when people mention zodiac signs, well, the zodiac is basically a symbolic coordinate system. It's a way of tracking cycles. It's a language. It's a map. It's a way of describing patterns. And the easiest way to explain it is this. In Western tropical astrology, we divide the sky into 12 equal sections. Those sections are tied to seasons and cycles. So that's why Aries lines up to the start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's why Cancer lines up with the start of summer. That's why Libra lines up with the start of fall. And that's why Capricorn lines up with the start of winter. So when you think about the journey of the sun, the journey that it's taking, in the perspective of Western tropical astrology, we are talking about the sun's apparent path that it seems to take from our vantage point on Earth in the northern hemisphere. So that's the sun's ecliptic. When spring begins, sun is at the equator. It starts to make its way up towards the Tropic of Cancer, and we have summer. Still, from our vantage point on Earth in the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to then move south down to the equator, and when it reaches it, we have Libra season. It'll dip below the equator and hit the Tropic of Capricorn, and then we have Capricorn season. So these things line up for a reason. Western tropical astrology is literally a seasonal clock, calendar, a cosmic one, if you will, a symbolic weather report and season report. So when someone says you're worshiping zodiac signs, my question to them is, how do you worship a calendar? How do you worship a measuring system? Nobody's bowing down to the concept of March. I mean, maybe you are. Maybe I am a little bit, since my birthday is in March. I gotta think about that one. But in general, nobody's doing that. And this is where people get tripped up. They confuse astrology with pop horoscopes, with superstition, with not taking accountability for your own actions because you can blame it on something else, or with idolatry even, or the stars made me do it, fatalism, as if you have no choices for your action. And those are definitely not the same thing at all. Now, to be fair, there are real Christian warnings that get mixed into this, but they're usually about idolatry and divination and fear-based superstition, not the zodiac signs are gods concept. So let's name the real categories. Idolatry, worshiping creation instead of God. The Bible warns against worshiping created things. The host of heaven, don't worship it. Deuteronomy 4:19, King James Version, Bible Gateway. That's the kind of vibe that's about. You don't want to turn the sky into your deity. And in no way is that what I do as a professional Western tropical astrologer. I don't worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. I have appreciation for them. I see them as God's creation. Now, the warning that is given in the Bible, I'm not going to say it isn't very real, because it also makes sense historically, since a lot of ancient nations literally did that. And the Bible is kind of like, don't do what they're doing. That's not the same thing, though, as don't study cycles. Does that sound like the same thing to you? Don't observe seasons. Does that sound like the same thing to you? Don't track time. How about that? Does that sound like the same thing to you? Because the Bible also says that the lights in the sky exist for exactly that. We'll get there, but it literally says that. Divination, trying to control fate or unveil the future. Here's that second category. I don't know which one I dislike most, but the Bible condemns practices framed as unveiling the future or trying to seize control over destiny. And yes, a lot of Christians lump astrology right into that bucket, but that's a misnomer. They're putting it in the wrong bucket, especially horoscopes as fortune cookies.
Tell me the future. Could you tell me my future? Can you tell me who I'm marrying? Oh my gosh, am I going to be rich? Can you tell me what lottery numbers are going to hit?
You know, that kind of energy. I don't practice that kind of astrology anyway, but notice something. Even if you believe that that's wrong, it's literally not the same thing at all as zodiac signs are gods. That's a completely different argument. He wants to talk about the zodiac signs archetypically coming from gods of mythology, Greek and Roman, then yeah, okay, that's a completely different argument. Now, fear-based superstition. Scripture warns people not to be terrified of signs. Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Jeremiah 10, verse 2. And honestly, even as an astrologer, I agree with the spirit of that, because fear-mongering astrology is trash-ass behavior. If your astrologer keeps you terrified, dependent, and spiraling, get your money back. Find a new astrologer. That's not showing you how to utilize this beautiful practice well. That's not giving you any wisdom. That's a spiritual manipulation, and it's dressed up in some sort of pretty font that you're supposed to try to ignore. So if we boil down the real Christian worry, what it basically is don't worship the sky. And again, when this woman said that zodiac signs were gods, I didn't even first think to myself, oh, she's talking about it because of myths. They're archetypes. They're just names. Don't even get me started. So if we boil down the real Christian worry, it's basically don't worship the sky. Don't try to use spiritual tools to control fate. Don't let signs terrify you. Cool, I got you. But words exist for a reason. So when I hear things like that, here's what gets interesting, to me at least. Because the Bible also says things that complicate astrology is automatically evil take. Talk about the verses the anti-astrology crowd really wants to sit with. And yeah, they exist. The lights are for signs and seasons. Genesis 1, chapter 14. Again, this isn't this professional astrologer's opinion. That's literally Genesis. So the question becomes, if the lights in the heavens are for signs and seasons, how is it automatically demonic to study signs and seasons? The heavens declare God's glory. Psalm 19, chapter 1. So again, observation is not worship. Reading creation is not replacing the creator. Even Jesus references signs in the heavens. Signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. Luke 21, chapter 25. So if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, you should notice what's happening here. Scripture is not saying the sky is meaningless. Scripture is not saying the sky is meaningless. What it is saying is don't worship it. Don't you get over there worshiping it. You hear me? Don't worship it. Don't fear it either. But it absolutely acknowledges that the heavens carry meaning. So that's a key distinction. Now, let's talk about the word people throw around like a grenade. Divination. A lot of folks hear that word, and my guess is that they think fortune telling, psychics, demons, Ouija boards. But divination in practice is a huge umbrella word. So that means that the new question and the real question becomes, what is the posture? Is it, I'm using this to worship something created? Is it, I'm using this to override God's will? Is it, I'm using this to control other people? Because that is exactly what a lot of Christian framing is talking about. And you can see that in the Catholic Catechism, for example. Catechism of the Catholic Church. Consulting horoscopes, astrology under divination from the Vatican vault. Now listen, that's Catholic doctrine. That's not all of Christianity, but it shows you the official logic. They're not mad at seasons. They're mad at the desire for power over time and fate. Very different things. And here's my take as an astrologer. If you come to astrology trying to use it like a remote control to dominate life, to bypass your own responsibilities, to manipulate outcomes, especially negatively, then you're already in the wrong spiritual posture, even if you're not a Christian, because it's simply not wise. And it's not how the best astrologers that I know operate anyway. Now, this is where the real debate lives, okay? Classic Christian thinkers argued, if the stars control you, where's the moral responsibility? Where's the free will? And to be clear, there's been astrology that leaned fatalistic for sure. But a lot of modern serious astrology, especially in the way I was trained, don't teach the stars made me do it. It's more like correlation, not compulsion or causation. A clock doesn't force you to go to work. It just tells you what time it is. A forecast is not the cause of the rain. It just tells you to bring an umbrella when you need to. So that's how I use astrology. And that's why I'm always yelling at people from the highest of the mountaintops about accountability. This is why I'm always talking about pattern recognition. This is why I mention strategy. Not excuses, not superstition, not worship. Now, people love to pull Isaiah, specifically the Babylon passage. Astrologers, stargazers, monthly prognosticators. Isaiah 47, chapter 13. And yes, the text is basically saying, where are your experts now? You can't be saved by your systems. And my response is, correct. Your astrologer cannot save you. Astrology cannot save you. No system can save you. It isn't the practice or the system itself. Those things can be used to describe the conditions. It can describe timing. It can describe characteristics. It can describe patterns, but it cannot replace the work required to live through it. So if someone is reading that passage and saying to themselves, aha, astrology is fake, I would say, no, yet, no, nine. That passage is basically dunking on spiritual arrogance, on thinking your tools make you untouchable. Thinking your knowledge makes you immune to real life actually happening. And basically, it seems as though the Bible is basically saying, nope, life's still one life. You still have to live. You still have to be accountable. You still have to face consequences. Again, I actually agree with the spirit of that to some extent. Well, to a large extent. Now, here's where it gets spicy. The Christmas story, the Magi, the wise men. They follow a star. We have seen his star in the east. Matthew 2, verses 1 through 2. Historically, Magi is associated with a priestly or learned class from the east, commonly linked with Persia and Babylonian learned traditions and scholarship. Now, I'm not saying that's a clean, modern Instagram astrology moment. No. I'm saying that the Bible itself contains a story where God uses the heavens as part of the narrative, which again supports the distinction. The sky can carry meaning without becoming your God. Okay, now we get to the receipt that makes the room a little bit quiet when people don't know what they're talking about. There's a famous and old astrology book literally titled Christian Astrology. It was written by William Lilly in 1647. And in the version of it that I have, the title page shows Christian Astrology, William Lilly, 1647. So when somebody says, real Christians can't touch astrology, I just want you to gently ask, then why do we have a major English astrology text named Christian Astrology, written by a practicing Christian in the 1600s? And it gets better. In Lilly's To the Student in Astrology, he frames astrology as contemplating God's works. He calls it heavenly knowledge of the stars, where the works of the invisible and glorious God are visible. So, Lilly's posture is, astrology is not God. Astrology is observing God's handiwork. Now, you can disagree with him, but you can't say Christianity has never contained this. That would just be lying, because it has. The Grammar of Astrology has a line where the author literally says that the goal is to lead to the honor of God and the benefit of mankind. So again, not worship at all. Not worship at all. Not replacement at all. Not another God at all. It's framed as study, truth, benefit, creation, God's order. So what's my actual point, you dying to know? My point is not Christians must accept astrology. No, I'm never going to make anybody try to accept anything. My point is, zodiac signs are not gods. That woman on Kendra G was confidently wrong. A lot of Christian objections are really objections to things like idolatry, fatalism, fear-based superstition, using spiritual tools to control destiny or manipulate others. And the Bible itself includes verses that affirm that the heavens mark the seasons. The heavens can carry signs. The heavens can declare glory without becoming a replacement for a deity or a replacement deity. Christianity has never been one monolith on astrology. Not to mention, I hear that the Vatican has the largest astrology library ever. But you ain't hear that from me. There have been Christian astrologers. There have been anti-astrology Christian thinkers. There have been debates inside the tradition. So the conversation deserves more maturity than zodiac signs are a god, because that's not the theology. That's not astrology. That's just loud and wrong. Let me make this clear as day. I don't use astrology to replace deities. I use it to understand patterns, hold myself accountable, navigate timing, prepare instead of panic, translate cycles into strategy. And that's why I started astrology trying to debunk it, actually. I tested it. I verified it. I tracked it. I cross-referenced it with my own life. And it became a language for things I couldn't name. Mirror, if you will. Not a god. If someone is religious, I actually think astrology can be used kind of like, where am I being pressed to mature? What's the wise way to move with what's happening? That's not worshiping planets. That's reading the room of creation. Here's the real question. Are you worshiping it? Are you fearing it? Are you using it to avoid responsibility? If yes, I understand why your faith would flag that. But if you're using astrology as a language of timing and mirror, a tool for self-accountability, a way to observe patterns, then the zodiac signs are God's argument falls apart immediately. Because you don't worship a mirror. You use it to see clearly. You guys have asked about it for a while, and finally, there's some Spiritual Gangsta certified merch, like the shirt that I'm wearing. This is a limited drop that won't be around for long. 10% of the proceeds are going to MS charity because my mom, who passed in December, had multiple sclerosis. We did the multiple sclerosis walk many years, every year there to support her. And that debilitating disease is something that she gave a lot to. So in honor of her, that's why I chose to donate towards MS research. So you'll not only be getting a pretty dope ass t-shirt, and there's more to come, but you'll be supporting a good cause.